Good crowd here at the Gabba. 9th versus 11th. A team with 10 wins up against a team with 9, and we're underway. Judd, almost the trademark first clearance, but he was gang tackled. That might be the situation all night.
He's been a good player at the Gabba.
Jordan Russell sprinting straight off the ground, so obviously a matchup they weren't happy with, the Blues.
Jarman with a little palm down to the last remaining member of the Fab Four, Simon Black. The Beatles have split, and there is Ringo Starr, just keeps banging away.
And it's Armfield that came on to replace Russell. He's gone straight to Ryan Hooper.
Jarman almost throws Cruiser out. In fact, he does throw Cruiser out. And they've allowed play on advantage. Stevens caught a few out. Didn't catch McGrath out, though. Halfback gathers. And that's the trouble when you play on advantage. You do have to hit your target. Otherwise, it is no advantage. Pierce Hanley, the first gamer from Ireland, replaced fellow Irishman Colin Begley in the team tonight. They do live together, as Jason said in the intro. And a big night for Pierce Hanley, and a lot of family watching back in County Mayo in Ireland to have a look at him run around. And Lee Matthews did say during the week they won't catch him from behind. He is super quick. Travis Johnston starting on the bench for the Brisbane Lions among their 4, including James Hawksley, Matthew Moody and Anthony Corrie on the bench for Brisbane.
It's a big job for Jed Adcock running with Chris Judd. It's really going to test him, Lynchy, isn't it?
Yeah, a huge job, and he was holding his right calf just in the centre bounce just a few minutes ago, so you certainly hope that's not an injury that he's carried into the game.
Houlihan quickly to Favola, back in from that hip operation, and perfect with his first possession. Ryan Houlihan to the man who needs 10 goals for the ton.
Sherman and Nick Stevens going at it off the ball. But Brendan Favola started right on the edge of the centre square when the first bounce came tonight, bolted straight in the middle, just went up the field for the first couple of minutes of play, but now back to his starting position out of the square, and he has an opportunity to kick the first goal of the game.
What a start this would be for the Fev. And he can't bend it back enough. It will be lucky to score. In fact, it's stumped over the boundary line, will get a ball in.
So not the start that he would have liked after a very good lead, but you would suspect that the Brisbane Lions defenders, they must get in front of Brendan Favola and chop off that lead to help out Daniel Merritt. Very tough to stop a quality forward like that, one-on-one.
Cloak with the flick back to Black. Dalziel had an outstanding start to this season of his, coming in late.
He's a ball magnet.
He is. It's unbelievable. In fact, he's had more possessions as he fumbles here in his first 5 games of football than any player in the history of their first 5 games, Judd included. No other player has had as many possessions in their first 5 games as Brad Dalziel. And by the way, he's yet to get an AB Rising Star nomination. Favola on the lead, takes the mark.
There was Sherman trying to get back. Fev plays on.
Stevens takes the mark. 25 out. And he plays on and kicks the opener for the Blues. They're on.
That is just about the perfect thing from a Carlton perspective, Lynchy, to see Brendan Favola actually give the first goal away and not just be so focused on kicking the 10 that he needs for his 100. He's in range there. I mean, anything inside 60 metres is just about in range for Fev, but he's just set this up for Nick Stevens.
Well, it is. You touched on it. It's a perfect start for Fev because he's led out well, taken 2 beautiful marks in the hand. So it's a perfect start for Brendan Favola, giving off the goal to his teammate.
So Sherman on Stevens. The 10 hasn't worked so far. Good to see Nick Stevens playing great footy this year as well. Every game this year after just 3 games last year because of that neck problem. It almost ended his career. Scotland caught by Copeland. Black steals it. McDonald, Dalziel. This possession does hit the target. Adcock. 360 from Judd. That's holding the ball normally. It's not in the book as an actual rule, but the umpires do go by it if you're slung 360. Deep. Judd sends it long. Cloak, as you said, position 1A, and takes the mark.
Now, to take your discussion, or your point a little bit further, it's a perfect start for the Carlton forward line because they pushed Cloak deep. Brendan Favola pushed up to 30 metres as a starting point, in the forward 50, and Cloak tried to put the block on for Favola's opponent, Daniel Merritt, and ducked out by himself. He was out by himself, had a mismatch against Ash McGrath, and that's a very good start. They need a cop-out or a bail-out kick, and that was to Cloak on this occasion.
And he has been their bail-out player. He's filled the hole that they needed filled when they took him pick 9 in the pre-season draft 2 years ago. And he kicks the second goal of the game. They're hot early.
Extraordinary start. Some of their prime ball winners have got their hand on the ball, and that's Stevens and Judd are the two key candidates there. And Cloak thought Cruiser might be the one that will be stationary in the goal square for most part, but at this occasion it was young Cloak, and that's what Carlton need. They need a second option to take the pressure off Fev so he doesn't get double and triple teamed. And when you get your chance, make your direct opponent accountable, take the mark and go back and slot the goal.
One-way traffic at the start. 12 possessions to 6 in favour of the Blues, and 4 inside 50s to zip.
Charman and Cruiser in the ruck. Adcock threads the handball through to Charman, to Dalziel. Just keeps getting it to Brown. Jonathan Brown marks outside 50. Kicked 10 against the Blues last time these two teams met here.
I'd go back and
that does stand as the Brisbane Lions record, the 10 to Bradshaw, who marks in the pocket.
It's a very clever kick. He just looked at the matchup. He saw Thornton and Bradshaw, and he knew they were one out in the pocket, so he said, I'll just kick it to Daniel Bradshaw's side of the contest. He just pushed off him and took the mark.
They're having their own contest in some respects. Bradshaw's kicked 67 this year, and Jonathan Brown 66. And what a beautiful kick. That is awesome from the pocket.
We talk about that spot most weeks. Brown and Bradshaw have a lot of shots during games from that position of the ground, and that's just in front of the Brisbane Lions race where they have the pot shots before they go off at the end of training. But good work from Jonathan Brown to identify where Daniel Bradshaw was going to lead to, pushed off his direct opponent and just slotted the ball beautifully through. That wasn't the best spot for his normal shape of kicking, but certainly for a right footer he was able to do his best job.
So 68th goal of the year for Daniel Bradshaw in game 200. And speaking of records, 431 goals now for Daniel Bradshaw. They say he's out after you, Lynchy, but unfortunately they don't combine all the Lions/Bears Brisbane records, which is a bit unfair on some people, including yourself. Walker gets the kick away wide, but it's out of play on the full, because you're down as having kicked 460 for the Brisbane Lions, but he kicked 633 for Lions all up. How do they work that out? Two different sets of records.
Well, they do keep different sets of records, and some occasions the AFL use both. On some occasions they just use Bears stroke Lions.
Merritt. I thought they merged. Little handball up to Dalziel and wide. Jonathan Brown. Wait with him. And Brown does well. Fell, got up, got it. Handball to Black. There's a holding free kick inside attacking 50 for the Lions. It'll go to Power.
Yeah, against Andrew Carazzo. He's the man that's got the job on Luke Power. He was looking to lead, just getting retarded, trying to make space, and Carazzo hung on to him. Not a great side for a left foot kick, that pocket, but certainly a bit of angle to work with.
We talk about the Fab Four and the retirement of Nigel Lappin. Well, here's Pete Best. Here's the fifth Beatle, Lukey Power. And Pete Best kicks the goal.
Dwayne's obviously had some quiet nights at home this week, just coming out with some gold like that, but a good answer from the Brisbane Lions. And we saw last week they were in some very good form, and they had to bounce back after the Brisbane Carlton got off to a flying start, and they have through some big guns. Jonathan Brown's started to get himself involved, Bradshaw and Lukey Power, who's playing some good footy for most part of 2008 through the midfield, starting up forward.
And Lynchy, when Luke Power thought of leaving the Lions about 3 years ago, Jonathan Brown said it would be morally wrong if you leave because you've been here for the good times. You can't leave in the bad times.
Yeah, put a bit of pressure on young Luke Power, he did. He decided to stay.
Is Luke putting pressure on Jonathan now?
Luke's about half the size of Jonathan Brown.
Sherman at half-back, knocked away. Stevens through traffic, got the handball up. Patfull, we brought Stevens down. Umpire said it wasn't high. And we'll get a ball up from umpire Sean Ryan. The three tonight, Shane Stewart, Simon Meredith and Sean Ryan, our officials. Scores level. Jarman, but straight down to Cloak. Hands off to Houlihan. A perfect two possessions. One was a pinpoint pass. His second back a goal.
Some useful work out of the ruck contest there to Houlihan. That was a fantastic snap around the body on the left foot. But actually, Jamie Charman's got his hands full at the moment. He's tapped that one straight to his direct opponent. And he's had young Hampson's just jumped over the top of him in the first two centre bounces that they've had so far this game. But great snap here on the left foot from Houlihan under a lot of pressure from Ash McGrath. So this is a cracking game. Plenty of goals at the start of this game. Very important one for both teams.
Had 30 possessions in Carlton's reserves last week, Ryan Houlihan. As we mentioned earlier, back in this week after that hip operation. Just his fourth game of the season. Ball up. Blues by a goal. Black shuffled it out. Comes out Murphy. Straight to Dalziel. To Adcock. Caught by Bentic. Slung and dumped. He's gone. And Bentic, one of the late inclusions for the Blues. Two late inclusions. Back to Murphy. Just changing it up a little bit. Walker, and over the head of Cloak. Still a chance though. Waite hands it off. Dragged down. Good tackle on Russell. No free paid. Ball still alive. Simpson thumps it along. Cloak, big mark. Big climb. Great grab.
Big grab. And Cloak's had a very good start to this game. And one of the actual, outside his goal and mark previously in the dish off to Houlihan, the fact now, because he's been a dangerous forward and taken big grabs like that, he's got the match-up on Daniel Merritt. Brendan Favola's now got the match-up on Jason Rowe, so that's a win for Carlton. That's a big grab.
Nice spot on the ground to be taking them as well. The Blues about 50-1 at the start of this game to make the 8. They need to win their last two and hope the Saints lose their last two. But they've made a good start to tick one box.
That's a tremendous contribution from Cameron Cloak. They've virtually got three ruckmen in the side with Hampson, Cruiser and also Cameron Cloak. Poor old Daniel Merritt just got caught standing under the ball. He had a run and jump. No one blocking his path to the contest. And it's actually, he's spending the majority of the time, Merritt, on Favola. Rowe's got a big job picking up the resting ruckman.
Back to a 12-point lead. Cloak with a couple.
Judd's got Luke Power running with him at the moment.
Hampson in the ruck against Charman now. Corrie, who kicked 7 goals in the reserves last week to get a recall into the Brisbane Lions side, dives in. Anthony Corrie can't get the clearance, will get a ball up. In fact, he was stunning last week, Lynchy, in that twos game.
He was fantastic, and his run and carry and obviously ability to finish off was why he's been recalled today. And if he can replicate that, he'll play a lot of league football.
Let's talk about some of the run with rolls out there. We've mentioned Adcock running with Judd, and Sherman started on Stevens, although he's gone to Simpson now. But we've got Simon Black and Mark Murphy actually going head-to-head, and you love seeing some of the top midfielders doing that. We've got a blood rule here against Jamie Charman.
And he could have
bumps his teammate out of the way to get through there.
And they could have been teammates, of course. Mark Murphy, whose father John was a 5-time Fitzroy best and fairest player. They could have grabbed him under the father-son rule, the Brisbane Lions, but he elected not to go to Brisbane. In fact, he shares a spot in that Fitzroy team of the century. John Murphy with our own Alistair Lynch.
Don't worry, the Brisbane Lions tried to get young Mark Murphy up. They rolled the red carpet out several times, but they decided to go to Carlton and made a real good fist of it as well.
Cloak, speaking of good fist of it, Houlihan, long kick, perfect start for Ryan Houlihan and the Blues.
Well, Ryan Houlihan's one of those players that at different stages of his career has been a little maligned for being a bit too pretty a player, perhaps not doing the hard stuff, the in and under stuff, but in every side you need a balance of inside and outside players, and you want the ball in the hands of the skillful players that can use it. There was a fantastic little hand pass there from Bryce Gibbs, I think it was, that released Houlihan, and he's finished twice now beautifully as well as hitting targets. That's what he's there to do, use the ball.
McDonald. You heard the umpire's call. Play on not 15, that pass.
So they're moving the ball slowly. Brisbane is making it very difficult.
Well, they're
Carlton getting numbers behind the foot. Every time they look up, all they see are navy blue jumpers.
So Adcock to the open side for the first gamer. Pierce Hanley gets a big round of applause and almost hits Bradshaw with the pass. He does. Bradshaw centering kick. How will it bounce? Unbelievable.
We touched on pre-game about how his mobility hasn't dropped off at all after the 12 months off with the knee reconstruction. He's kicked quite a number of these sort of round-the-body goals on both left and right foot, and I think he was just basically going for the goal square there and hoping for the best and hopefully hit a teammate. But he's got the big wrong un. It's just gone against the spin and straight through for a goal. Daniel Bradshaw is very happy, and I'm sure Lee Matthews will be very happy as well.
He's from Victoria, from Wodonga, and he said as a young kid that he modelled his game on Jason Dunstall. Did you kick many of those, Jace?
You always take them when they bounce sideways like that and go through, Dwayne, and you pretend you meant them.
And Dwayne, I think he's just trying to model the hairdo on Jason Dunstall as well.
Easy.
The race back.
Easy.
Bradshaw, almost. Brown was there as well. Hooper, swooper, and it's marked almost last under the fence by Jared Waite. To Gibbs. Some composure now from the Blues. Although Russell can't get there for this one, and Johnston takes the mark. And they didn't tag Travis Johnston when these two teams met earlier this year. They let him go. He had 37 possessions in that round 8 game, Travis Johnston. They're not tagging him tonight. Stevens wide to Fisher.
Jordan Russell's the man that's opposed to him. Needs to take closer stock of him.
Favola in the pocket. And almost spoiled by his own man, Ian Simpson. Will get a ball in. 32 players, 19. Good start to this contest. Favola with the palm down, back to McDonald. Brennan. Back to McDonald. Corralled. Adcock. Little trickling kick. Evades a few, but not Scotland. He backtracks. Hard to kick on the backward step, but he finds the Fav. Crunched. Off hands. Houlihan again. 3 goals in the comeback. In your dreams, Ryan Houlihan.
Hasn't played since the first month of the season, and he's come out and started this first quarter and kicked 3 absolute belters, and that's a fantastic goal. Good contest from Favola, got the spillage, and Ryan Houlihan just
Can I just
a little
say this,
floater
Lynchy?
straight through.
He wasn't intending the ball to travel like that. He was looking for the little grubber that goes end over end and bends in, and he's actually kicked a little floater that's gone through. That's why he's laughing.
And a big leap, but no mark for Hawksley. Over the top.
He got in the full zone. Favola's by himself.
Anderson with the pass. Merritt. Threw it out. Greg. Judd. Long kick. Favola. Takes it.
Well, Daniel Merritt's holding his head behind play because he had the ball at ground level and he actually had support right around the pack that he was in the middle of, but he chose to just thump the ball off the ground indiscriminately, and that's something that most coaches discourage these days. They would prefer you to hold on to the ball and even give away a free kick for getting caught with the ball as opposed to just hitting indiscriminately into space where the opposition might get it, and you get a quick turnover like that. Favola in space cost them the goal.
Had 3 shots already from this angle. Slots that one. He needs 9 more for the ton.
And the Brisbane Lions, like a lot of teams do now, they implemented basically an 18-man zone, pushed their full back line up to the half-back flank and tried to really congest the Carlton ball carriers. It just left Brendan Favola isolated by himself in the forward 50. Jason Rowe pushed hard to get back to make a contest, but he was there too late, and the kick was too good from Chris Judd. And Favola's gone back and got his first for the night.
Mentioned he needs 10 for the ton tonight. He's never kicked 10 in a game. Brendan Favola, well, not a real game, of course, in that Millennium game. He did kick 12, but that didn't really count. Certainly didn't count for premiership points. Moody sends it long from 52, and it's a little wide. In fact, he tells me he kicked 24 goals in a game for Berwick under 15s one year, Brendan Favola, so he has kicked multiples. But that under 15 game probably counted as much as that Millennium game. From the kicking in, Anderson, Judd. Around Copeland. Scotland, gee, they're confident to pass back inboard to centre half back. Mark taken by Armfield. Murphy. Quite content to go in with this lead. All the way up, Brendan Favola to the wing. 44-21. White. No second grab, Power. Now the Lions on the rebound, Sherman. Handball poor from Brennan. Armfield cuts it off.
Stevens
now
again.
Lefebvre. 60 from goal. Centering kick was a shocker. Bouncing ball. Might be okay. Greg runs into trouble. Patfull. No one to go to. Charman. Now Sherman. Moody. Dalziel can run on. Brown to the pocket. Cut off. Out of play.
That was well read by Waite. Read the Dalziel pass and just cut across in front of Jonathan Brown. So that was good work. Brown was in a dangerous position.
He just misread it. He wanted it over the top, Brown, and Dalziel thought he was coming on the lead.
Gibbs. White. Danger again. Cut off this time. Riscatelli takes the mark.
Well, they need this, Brisbane. They're under serious assault at the moment. It's been pretty much one-way traffic. Carlton controlling the ball. And Michael Riscatelli has a chance here to kick a goal against the run of play because they were just starting to set up coming out of defence then, the Blues.
Big kick this. 90 seconds from quarter time. Not bad off the boot, but it isn't in. It's behind. So 22 points the margin. They double their score. And again, they play on with confidence. Thornton. Wobbler. Rowe got there first. Maybe the Lions the last chance to score. He's held up. It's got Dalziel out wide. Goes toward Brennan instead. Judd with him. And Brennan beats him.
Well, he had to mark that. Dalziel was just overlooked. Should have been used.
Inboard to Sherman, who can load up from 60. Sends it long. Brown and Bradshaw both there. Couldn't get a fly at it. And almost a smack to the face of Gibbs. Almost 50. Didn't get it. Goes to Stevens. He holds it up. 45 seconds as we tick down. Magnificent first term for the Blues. 7-2, their biggest of the season. Gibbs holds it up with the crew cut. White. They look as if they know how long left to quarter time. Judd holds it in the air.
Amazingly for Carlton, their top possession getter in the first quarter is Brendan Favola with 7. And nothing amazing about that, but the fact that he only has 1 goal. Normally, if you thought Favola's had 7 possessions in the first quarter, he's probably kicked 4.
Stevens back to Judd. Oh, Carazzo. They mess it up, he and Greg. They get out of danger. White. Wobbler. Straight through the legs of Cruiser. But that'll do us to quarter time here at the Gabba. Charman not happy. The natives here not happy either. Magnificent opening term for the Blues to keep their season alive. They need a win tonight and then hope the Saints lose tomorrow to keep their chances alive to make the 8. And they lead. They're double the Lions score at quarter time. 22 points in front. 7-2. Plays 3-4. So the Queenslander Sean Hampson in the ruck for the Blues. climbed high for the opening bounce of this second term. Greg shoots the handball out. There's a mass of players around this ball at the moment. Riscatelli shoots it inside 50. Carazzo attacked it well. Bauer, and now Judd. Shoots it wide towards Walker. Boundary line looming. Dalziel came at him. They keep it alive. Carazzo. Maybe they could have taken it out. Sherman dragged down. Ball up. Umpire Simon Meredith calls for it.
Interesting matchup. Bryce Gibbs and Jared Brennan both getting plenty of the ball. Brennan's had 8, as Lynchy said before. Gibbs has had 7. So a little bit of latitude being given to one another.
Charman Shepherd out of the ruck contest, so we'll take the free and thump it into goal-scoring territory. The kick and hope. Jonathan Brown's there with Wade. Brown too strong.
Well, if you're just going to kick long, you may as well do it to a one-out contest with your star player. Why not?
That's
He just
right.
identified, look, there's a whole big pocket of space in the forward pocket. It's Brown and Waite and Brown. A 50-50 contest. He didn't try and do something beyond his capabilities as a ruckman. He just kicked it to the gun forward and gave him a chance.
Wasn't a great attempted spoil, though. Waite certainly jumped right up there, had the opportunity to punch it away.
It's not bad. Off the boot, he strikes it like a sweet kiss. Off the leather, through the big sticks.
Well, not a sweet kiss, but it was a good kick. He slotted that one beautifully, and there's been a couple of great shots on goal from the Brisbane Lions. But as you look, Waite here jumps. He jumped very high, but just wasn't able to get a fist on it. And that's where I think the big advantage for the Brisbane Lions is the ability to mark overhead from Brown and Bradshaw against their respective opponents. And if you can isolate those guys without the third up jumper, it's going to be very hard for the Carlton defenders to stop these forwards tonight.
You're not too old to remember the
Sweet kiss.
smacker on the lips, are you?
Oh,
Long time since I've had one, Dwayne.
Perfect timing. Nothing better from the ball up. Well, maybe that goal from Jonathan Brown. Judd shoots the handball out, but to Dalziel. Back to Black. And now Power can run. Couple of options inside 50. One of them's the short. Riscatelli played for the 50. Didn't get it. He's within range.
From a Carlton perspective, though, even though Brown and Bradshaw are in the goals, they've got 3 of their 4 goals already. 2 of them have been set shots from the pocket where they've had to thread the needle, and the other was a snap on Bradshaw's left foot that took a right-angle turn to go through. So if you're going to concede goals, they're the ones you want to concede where the opposition really has to work hard for them. Now, these are the ones that Brisbane have to convert, the better opportunities like this.
For 2 goals within a minute for the Lions, Riscatelli misses to the near side.
He missed one late in the first quarter as well. They're
to the far
expensive
side.
misses.
Yeah, he's pulled one and pushed one just either side of the big sticks at the moment, Riscatelli, but must convert those opportunities as you touched on. And they've got to use this 18-man zone a bit more effectively than they did in the first quarter.
Carazzo. Called to get on with it and runs straight into Copeland. That's dead, surely.
That's got to be dropping.
That's a little bit stiff.
Judd takes them on. The natives are restless now. Oh, that's got to be gone, surely.
What was Chris Judd thinking then?
Well, he's such an honest bloke. He thought the other one was definitely a free kick.
It's like he thought Luke Power didn't exist. Now, that should be. That's not. He tried to handball, but he didn't. In the end, he threw it out. Now, Chris Judd gets space, and in the end, I'll just ignore Luke Power. Perhaps he's not there. Perhaps I'll run straight through him.
No one's ever tackled Chris Judd like that before. That's for the time capsule. Never been caught like that before, and Luke Power finishes it off. Big goal for the Lions.
Big goal and an important goal because that was a goal that resulted in forwards putting an enormous amount of pressure on the ball carrier, and certainly it was an unusual situation. Look, he got caught in the headlights there, Chris Judd, but certainly deserved a free kick on the previous tackle. But to go back and make the most of that opportunity, Luke Power was able to do and capitalise on the opportunity. They've got to go back and kick these goals, and they've got themselves back to a stage now where they're 9 points down and well and truly in the game.
Bentic, Gibbs, Simpson, Cruiser, they all get a touch. Little kick away towards goal is okay, but it's wide. And Fisher either gets a free or has paid the mark.
Paid the push.
He's a little bit unlucky here, Pierce Hanley, because he goes for a legitimate spoil. The only thing he wanted to do was fist the ball. He doesn't quite get the ball. Makes a bit of body contact on Brad Fisher and gets paid for the push. He probably needs to kick a banana, or is he competent on the left boot? Maybe screw out on the left foot.
Out he comes. And that was nice.
Did it well.
Perfection from the pocket.
Probably a little bit unfortunate for Pierce Hanley there, but it was nicely executed kick on goal. Very confident on that left slipper to get it around. And we just see here.
It's a legitimate attempt to spoil the ball.
Oh, he's very stiff.
He's a little bit unlucky, isn't he? But look, to the letter of the law, he does catch the arm of Brad Fisher. He doesn't get the ball.
Ooh, bit unlucky there. Fisher just opened up the angle by 2 metres and snapped it around beautifully.
Not having as big a season in front of goal this year. Brad Fisher is last, 23 for the season, after kicking 39 from his 19 games last year. Lee Matthews knows their season is on the line. Sharman, as good as a handball to half forward. Riscatelli, Jonathan Brown, White, Brown, White steals it, but nowhere to go. Judd, toe poke. Sherman tried to make it tough. Judd, Houlihan, well played. Well, that handball not so good. Turnover. Copeland dragged down and slung. Got it up just in time. Sherman, now the knock on push to the back. And Riscatelli to take it 80 from goal. 12 points the margin. 2-goal lead to the Blues after their 7-goal opening term. Kick and hope. Bradshaw and Brown, they all fly. No one can mark.
Oh, they're out here.
Cloak, well moved. Simpson, some space to roam in. Hands it off. Bauer, big long thump for Volas down there. Fisher.
That's
held it
good
long
work
enough
from Fisher. And looks like Brisbane have stuck with that move. Daniel Merritt going to Cameron Cloak. Patfull's got Brendan Favola, but the Carlton forwards pushed up the ground and ran back with the flight of the long ball that came in, and 2 quality contested markers under the ball, and Fisher was the one to take a good grab in front.
2 goals within 60 seconds for Brad Fisher.
They're making life tough for themselves, Brisbane. They had all the play in the first part of this second quarter, but they didn't make the most of it on the scoreboard. Now all of a sudden it's 2 goals apiece, and that same margin that was there at half-time is starting to rear its ugly head again. And some of those misses by Brisbane have proven very, very costly. Some simple shots for goal. Carlton, on the other hand, 9 goals too. Very efficient in front of goal.
Simon Black having a rest. Dalziel. Plenty of rotations. And the ball up. The warm night. Sherman. The steal. And the kick not so good. Tough ball to gather. Moody beaten for it by Carazzo, but he's got 2 to beat now through the legs of Moody. Back to Sherman. Ridden by Judd. Gets the handball up. Adcock. Corey. Moody. To full forward. Jonathan Brown. Had hands on it. Couldn't mark it. Hooper. The shrug. Got a handball out just in time. Riscatelli beaten for it. Ball still in there. Bradshaw shuffles it out. Thornton tried to get it out. It's hot in the kitchen at the moment. Ball comes out somehow.
They put the whistle away.
Thornton. Russell. Grigg. Houlihan dangerously. And Murphy does the right thing.
Very dangerously, just around on the left foot. Very laconic, some big numbers in this quarter. Inside 50s at 9-3 in favour of Carlton. Tackles 14-2 and clearances 7-2, all in favour of Carlton.
Murphy, Houlihan, along the boundary line. Bauer couldn't take it. Sharman does. Back toward Russell, the man who gave it in that direction in the first place. Gives the free away. Copeland, who can launch a long ball. He's 70 from goal. It's the call to play on. Puts it to the pocket. And White with a big fist. Thumps it out of play, Jared White. It's a pat on the head from Thornton. 56-39.
Big 5 minutes for the Brisbane Lions. Jamie Charman's gone from the ground to have a rest. And Jared Brennan will be the man running around the ruck. So important to nullify the Carlton ruck dominance.
Hampson gave it up to Simpson. Judd tried to thump it up. Does. Stevens. Knew he had a man peeling wide. And now the run. Good run too from Simpson. He's got Fisher to the pocket. Rose with him. Fisher too strong.
Well, right now, Jason Rose becoming a liability for Brisbane. He wasn't able to handle Cameron Cloak. He's been moved on to Fisher.
Luke Powers down in back plate.
They just can't get their matchups right. They'd love to have Merritt back on for Vola, and I think Patfull's the right matchup for Fisher, but they were getting hurt by the third tall.
Essentially his third within 3 minutes. Slides it through.
Well, Luke Power is jogging from the ground, and he did have a word to the umpire there. He wasn't entirely happy with something. He's carrying a shoulder into the game as we have a look.
Picked off
here.
here.
He's just wandering along, no awareness whatsoever. He probably needed to be there, and Cameron Cloak just come in and put a block on. All fair, but that's a fair goal. Fisher's in some good touch.
Three goals for Brad Fisher, and Luke Power hurt.
He's their leading possession getter with 10. Just keep an eye in the bottom right. You see Cameron Cloak just come in. A little bump. Is that after the ball has gone? That is the only thing that would be a problem with it. He's not happy, Luke Power. He thinks he got unfairly picked off. It was certainly close to the man that was kicking the ball. It was within 5 metres if he still had it. But if the ball had already gone...
Probably the ball had just gone.
Yeah, look, I didn't have a problem with it.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Brennan to Sherman. Kicks inside 50 and White. Outmarks Jonathan Brown. Well, if the guy kicking it was hip and shouldered at the same time, it would have been 50 downfield. That's how late it was, that 1 second late.
Cameron Cloak was a little bit generous in that situation.
Yeah, he could have really knocked him into next week, and he didn't. Just sat him on his bum.
Anderson towards the wing. Well, the match review panel will have a look at it, and their decision is based on whether the player that gets hit is in a position where he should expect some sort of contact.
We should have.
He's chasing a bloke with the footy. Shepherding's a part of the game.
Manhandled by Fisher that time. Jason Rowe will take the free.
Yeah, maybe that's also a bit of slow motion there, which makes it look worse. I'd like to see it at normal speed.
But had the kicker been hit that far after, that would have been a report, no doubt.
Well,
the same thing should apply for...
I won't make judgment until I see it again in fast motion, Dwayne, and see exactly where the footy is at the point of impact.
Brown, too far out to score.
If it's just left the boot, I've got no problem with that.
To Bradshaw, hands, can't grab it. Copeland shuffles it out to Moody, tucked into the boundary line. Delicate kick, beautiful kick to Corey.
Good use of the footy, very good use of the footy there. And this is just a desperate shot for goal now for Anthony Corey. They cannot afford to miss any of these golden opportunities from directly in front, around the edge of the corridor. He has. Very quiet.
Margin stands at 23 points right now. It was 22 at quarter time. Straight over the goal umpire's hat as we tick into time on second term.
You see Simon Black getting the ball on. He's been getting a bit of it. He's up to 8 possessions. Jonathan Brown, he has 7 possessions and a goal, so he's getting a little bit of it. Contest in the pocket, but it's just keeping the ball alive and then good decision making from Matthew Moody. He didn't try to kick the 1 in a million goal, which would have been nearly impossible on the opposite boot. He just squared it up.
20th goal of the season for Anthony Corey, not counting the 7 that he kicked in the reserves last week, of course. Back into the team this week, and Luke Power back on. So the match review panel will take that into account, the fact that Luke Power's okay from the ball up. Scotland tried to shuffle it out. Briscatelli also likewise. It comes out to Anderson. Handball up, Stevens. And Favola marks on 50.
He actually just slipped, lost his footing and got on the ground. It's fortunate the ball was still coming in his direction while he was laying on the ground and was able to just pluck it in.
Good grab.
In range. He is a beautiful kick of the football, this bloke.
I think he's more comfortable from these sort of distances around the 50-metre mark, 45.
Kicked 5 against Brisbane earlier this year in that round 8 game at the Telstra Dome. The Lions won by 33. Oh, that's a shank. Chance for the Flyers to go up almost. Brennan, one hand, throws it out. Dalziel throws it through for a behind. 63 to 45.
We've modded some players over the last few weeks. We've shot some goals, haven't we?
To the pocket. McDonald to McGrath. Inside 5 minutes to half-time. St Kilda 11 wins on the ladder. Collingwood 11 wins on the ladder. And Brisbane with 10 and Carlton with 9. Still in the reckoning with a win tonight, one of these two teams. And the Brisbane Lions next week have the Sydney Swans at the SCG, and Carlton next week, Hawthorn at the Telstra Dome. Big finish to 2008's home and away season.
Well, that's...
And a free kick will go
against
to
Brennan
Cloak.
for the Shepherd.
Just inexperience in the ruck. He just stood there, didn't have his eyes on the footy at any stage and blocked the path of Cameron Cloak.
We saw a few seconds beforehand, Ash McGrath was saying, where were you, the ruckman? You should have been up the line for the long kick. So just a couple of instances, lack of experience as a ruckman for Jared Brennan.
Cloak to Stevens, to Favola, got a little nudge. Played for the free, didn't get it. Walker, Hooper wrapped him up. Comes out to Armfield, tucked into the pocket. Good centering kick. Not a lot of players home though, and Brennan calls for the safe catch. Chips it wide, Adcock. Into the back pocket. 3 goals the margin, 18 points. Merritt. Not a lot to go to by foot. Brennan. Back inboard to Black. And now the first game of Hanley. Nice movement. McGrath, all stolen from him. Dalziel almost took it off him. Anderson does. Handball not so good from Joe Anderson. Comes back out to Houlihan. Tries to make amends. Dalziel. Stolen back again. Scotland. He's got the men out wide free. One of them Walker. But no one inside 50. In fact, he's got Murphy, who ran towards attacking 50. Takes on Brennan. And class. All class Mark Murphy.
Well, you called it, Dwayno. There was no Carlton forwards inside 50 until Murphy just power run into some space, and it was a beautiful pass to put it out in front of him so he could run onto. And had Jared Brennan there laying some pressure, but under that pressure he was able to straighten up on the right boot and slot it through. So that's a very good answer for the Carlton side. Brisbane Lions had struck back with a goal, and they've answered very quickly with one of their own.
Almost the forgotten #1 pick. They've had 3 #1s in the last 3 years, Carlton, and that will end this year. 3 #1s and a #2 pick in the last 5 years, the Blues. And they've had a good opportunity to get a new group of players through. Adcock. There is Murphy on the mark. Murphy, Gibbs, Cruiser, and the #2 pick 5 years ago, of course, was Andrew Walker. Kick towards half forward, bouncing ball. White thumped on. Dalziel. McGrath. Brown. Read that beautifully. White calls for the push, but Jonathan Brown knew the drop zone.
There's a little bit of handwork in there, Lynchy. Need to see what part of the body he made contact with, but he could see where the ball was going to finish, Jonathan Brown. He just needed to get Jared Waite underneath it. It was a penetrating low kick from McGrath. One hand in the back.
One hand squarely in the middle of the back.
Where's that rule gone?
It has its moments, that rule, but that was a hand fair in the middle of the back.
For his second. He's got 2 to that end. And he is the man who can be the difference between a win and a loss.
Well, I think you understand why players get frustrated at times with different interpretations of rules. Backman strive to get front position now because they know if they get worked under the ball with the hand, he's put his right hand on the 3 on the jumper, the 3 of Jared Waite's 30.
And it
now,
wasn't a massive push, but that's not the rule now. You can't actually put a flat hand on the back.
You only have to touch it, and it was a free kick early in the year.
So you can imagine there'll be some Carlton supporters very disappointed at home now.
"68 goals for the season now for Jonathan Brown. His best season last year. He kicked 77. Will they play finals? Can he better last year's 77? One thing for sure, he won't win the Coleman, as he did last year. From the ball up, Judd inside 2 minutes to half-time, and they get the clearance. Brennan stands under it. Ball knocked down to Russell. Hands it off, Bauer. Slides a kick away. Adcock almost met high. Armfield collects the crumb. Murphy, and now the Blues are away. Shoots the handball long. Walker. Greg. Caught, just got the kick away, almost, not quite a mark to Simpson. Stolen by Dalziel. Oh, he handballed up to Charman, stolen off him by Houlihan. Little bump from Charman, was timely, out of play on the full. He was about to have a shot for his 4th as he was bumped, Ryan Houlihan. And with 1:10 left on the clock, the Lions don't want to turn this over. Charman flies for the mark. Black. Maybe one last chance for a score. Dalziel, no one to go to, sends it wide. Travis Johnston hasn't seen a lot of it, doesn't see it here, in fact gives it away to Russell.
Yeah, not having a great day, Travis Johnston. Just the 2 possessions in a half of footy after starting on the bench and giving away a free kick there. They need him to get active. He's got to get involved.
Greg holds it up. One last chance at a score perhaps for the Blues now. Carazzo. Murphy. 18 points the margin as it stands now. It was 22 at quarter time. So they'll go in with the lead. But a mark inside 50 would be handy right now. Wait.
Plenty of loose players back for the Brisbane Lions. Just can't find any space to get an effective pass to a forward at the moment, the Blues.
Surely they need to thump it long, just get it in there. A chance for a mark.
I think there'd be an instruction sung out, just give it a go. Hail Mary in there would be great.
They've wasted their own chance there, the Blues. Obviously no one on the bench with a watch. Half-time here at the Gabba. And Carlton, according to the bookmakers, 50-1 to make the 8, but a win tonight might put a little bit of pressure on the Saints tomorrow. And they lead at half-time without Brendan Favola dominating up forward. Carlton 11-3-69 by 18 points from the Lions. 7-9. Season on the line for these two teams. Second half underway. Charman v Cruiser and Sean Grigg wrapped up. Get a secondary bounce in the middle. Quick ball up. You can throw a tarp around. About 20 of them out there in this centre circle. They've all come inside the centre square. Gibbs with the tap on. Armfield got it up. Bauer shoots the handball to Judd. And now the wobble at half forward. Ball eluded Merritt. Poor bounce for him, although it's kind for him now. Slips a handball out to Dalziel. On his back. Stolen by Cruiser. Gives to Stevens. Runs inside 50. Knows the importance of this kick. And Walker can't mark. A behind.
Free kick here.
Free kick up here.
So
high contact on Jamie Charman.
Was that before the ball went through for a goal?
Well,
or
you could
after?
hear him. You could hear him actually saying, "Let him go, let him go," as the ball was going through. And then after it went through, there was further high contact, which resulted in the free kick coming to where it is now.
He met him high before the behind was scored, so maybe it should have come back earlier. Hanley on debut.
Oh, I hope there's not a point in it at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan Brown stayed down. Corey got a kick away, even though one arm was held. Jonathan Brown lurking in the pocket, centering kick, but Scotland was waiting for it. Last line of defence. Armfield held up. Started on the bench and has come on to do a job. Thornton. And Carlton don't mind chipping it around. In fact, last week they had just 25 long kicks for the game against the Kangaroos, the Blues. There's one. It's Cloak climbs again.
Jeez, he's quite mobile. He's getting off the ground as well and taking some very good marks.
If you joined us late, kicked 2 goals in the opening term as well. Cameron Cloak.
Oh, Jamie Charman not happy with Cameron Cloak. Give him a little clip behind play. It was obviously the high contact that resulted in a free kick to Charman before came from Cloak. So a good battle between those two going on.
Scotland to Houlihan to Russell. If you have joined us late, Houlihan with 3 goals.
Cloak's just working Charman over at the moment, pushing hard forward.
Favola on the lead. Gee, Corrie stood his ground brilliantly.
That's well done. That's a part of his game that has really improved over the last couple of years.
Well, he had his jaw broken about 4 years ago, and it really did knock his career around, but it's good to see him back. Quick hand up to Patfull. He thumps it long. Bradshaw in a one-on-one. Oh, he had his jumper held.
Had to be.
Yeah. And the umpire saw it. He allowed play on Sean Ryan for a moment to see if Bradshaw could kick the goal with a play on advantage.
Well, Brett Thornton can't believe it. Here's Anthony Corrie. This is great work. You don't know what's coming. He could have got cleaned up. He did very well.
In fact, he should have probably got cleaned up.
But have a look at the stretch of the jumper. Once it's stretched out from the body, that's when the umpire paid it.
That's that situation that Bradshaw and Brown are so good at, especially in the one-on-one situation with the lighter opponents. I'd be looking to go with that situation a little bit more often this second term.
2 goals from 2 possessions, and now 3 from 3 in game 200 for Daniel Bradshaw.
Well, that's all that either of them want. They want the opportunity to battle with their opponents 1 out. We saw Brown a moment ago get the ball, which resulted in it going forward. He got it one-on-one against Waite, and now Bradshaw got the chance one-on-one against Thornton, and a little bit too strong. He's just, mind you, they've both got a handful of jumper. It's just that when Bradshaw let go, Thornton didn't. It stretched out from the body. So you can understand why he feels hard done by, but the umpire had no option.
Daniel Bradshaw, as we said, in game 200, made his AFL debut back in 1996 against the Tigers at a ground called Optus Oval, if you remember that one. From the ball up, Stevens thumps it long. Walker with the fly. Rose stayed down, held his ground. Black wide to Dalziel. We've got a wriggle on in this 3rd term, the Lions. Brennan. Big long load up towards Brown. Good fist from Waite. Knocked it down. Bradshaw crumbs it. Shoots the handball up. Sherman. He missed Jonathan Brown. Tucked into the boundary line. He gets the kick away. Bradshaw from nowhere.
Well, it was Bradshaw that worked the ball to Jonathan Brown, or got it in the vicinity. Sherman didn't quite hit him with the hand pass he was looking for, but Brown just hooked it back into the middle. And now Bradshaw has the opportunity to go 4 from 4. 4 kicks, 4 goals if this goes straight through.
What about the strength of Jonathan Brown? Carazzo had him.
Just picked him up and kicked it with him on his back.
Like a little gnat on an elephant.
It was a backpack.
4 from 4. They're on the way back, the Lions.
That's 2 quick goals at the start of this 3rd term to the Brisbane Lions, and that's just what they need, and their 2 big power forwards have been very much involved. Have a look here, as you described it, the backpack on the back of Jonathan Brown, and Daniel Bradshaw was on the back of, I think it was Cruiser there, took a very good strong mark. Good kick just to put it at the top of the square and hope.
Simon Black trying to climb. Just didn't look natural at all.
71 goals for the season now for Daniel Bradshaw, and it's back to 7 points. From the ball up, Black almost with a takeaway. Judd turned it over though. McDonald spins out of trouble nicely. Power, McGrath spears it to Bradshaw. That was out of the copybook.
That is one of the best passes I've ever seen.
That didn't get above 6 foot in the air.
Oh, mate, that was unbelievable. That was
Have a look at the
grass
trajectory.
cutter. Unbelievable pass, that. Nothing a defender can do. 5 from 5 if he kicks this.
Absolute perfection from Daniel Bradshaw. 5 goals. And it's a 1-point ball game.
Well, he touched on at half-time that he was reasonably quiet in his 200th game. Just had the 2 possessions and 2 goals. His efficiency was up there, but now he's just burst out of the blocks and kicked 5. And he's a dangerous player, but the lace-out pass is the thing. The clearance work of the midfielders has been very good at the start of this term, and Daniel Bradshaw gets a chance like that. He doesn't miss those too often. He's on fire, and the Brisbane Lions are back to within a point.
The Blues led by 18 points to start this term. It's back to 1. And the Brisbane Lions, 9th on the ladder now. If they win this and Sydney lose tonight to Collingwood, and the score at halftime looks like that might be on the cards, then it could be an elimination final next week between these 2 teams, Brisbane and Sydney, who are playing tonight. And that game at the SCG, they've still got a lot of footy to play yet, the Lions, tonight. From the ball up again, holding the ball. Free kick to the Blues. And the Blues, on the other hand, of course, need to win tonight and next week and hope the Saints lose their last 2 games and by big margins to make the 8. Stevens, the half forward. Rowe with the fist, didn't want to take the mark. Handball not good from Russell. He turns it over. Black, and they're confident now, the Lions. McDonald, Travis Johnston, who's fresh, maybe not fresh enough to get away, dragged down, should have been ball, wasn't. Murphy to Judd, on the rebound, the Blues to Stevens. This looks good for Vola. He's calling it back to the square. It's in his direction. He's in position A. Almost. Pat Fuller with him. Dragged down by Merritt. No free. Ball shuffled free. Dalziel. And a high tackle. It's a Lions ball. And Fev getting a little restless. Gee, that was almost. And Brendan Favola, of course, playing not just to play in the finals, but to become the first Blue since the great Alex Jezelenko to kick 100 in a season. He's got 1
hand on the back
for tonight. He's on 91, and if he stays on 1, it'd mean he needs 9 next week. Black, chip kick wide. Riscatelli. Razzle dazzle Dalziel. Hooper. Brown calls for it, front and central. In his direction, won't get there. Cut off by Simpson.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the wrong option. It was just poor execution. He did lead into space. It needed to carry Cade Simpson. But now, when you turn it over in that area, you are susceptible to a quick rebound.
Cloak got it from Stevens. Kicks it over the head of Waite. Jonathan Brown a long way down, chasing his man Waite down. McDonald, he was caught a little high, but he ducked into it as well. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The umpire says ball. Carlton free. And is Houlihan within range? It won't be his ball. He doesn't get it.
Brisbane fans not too happy with that decision. It interrupted their beer.
So Jonathan Brown's man centres it. Cloak, who's had a few big climbs tonight, doesn't collect this one. Black.
He's getting some important touches, Simon Black, this quarter.
Corrie, Sherman. Straight down the middle. He kicks a long ball, a race on to the pocket. Bow will get there first. Johnston hunts him down. He shrugs him. He throws the handball to Thornton. Wide to Stevens. Took the step to play on. Murphy under pressure. Back to Stevens. Well worked. Walker's handball a little untidy. Okay to Bentic, and now Armfield. His poke pass is perfect, although Hampson made a mess of it.
Needed to go 2 hands.
Sean Hampson
Almost always need to go 2 hands regardless of where you are on the ground. Scotland does go 2 hands to Judd. Straight through. Hands off to Walker. Goal. Extends the margin back to 7.
It was a long time coming for Carlton in his 3rd term.
Needed it.
Everything had gone so beautifully for them in the first half. They must have been a little bit shell-shocked the way this 3rd term had started. They've had as much of the footy in the 3rd term. They've had the same inside 50s, but They were just getting smashed on the scoreboard.
Well, contested possessions, the ones who are actually getting smashed. I mean, 17-9, and I think actually Carlton in the last 2 minutes have been able to bring that a little bit closer, but they're getting belted at the moment in contested ball.
He could be the man. Chris Judd.
Travis Johnson off for Brisbane, as is the man who's done the job on him, Jordan Russell, and he has had a dirty night, Travis Johnson. Just the 3 possessions, 2 kicks and a handball. Only one of those 3 an effective disposal.
The ball up. Bentic almost. Cruiser does get the kick away. McGrath. He was caught, dragged down, caught a little high and had no prior opportunity, according to umpire Shane Stewart. Quick bounce. Cruiser with the thump. Moody. Dalziel. Patfull gets away from Favola. Back to Dalziel. Favola's on the move now. Oh, he wanted him and he drags him down a little too late, Brendan.
Yeah. It's one of those where you've made such an effort to get there. You just want to make it worthwhile. You want to be involved. You want to do something. You figure, oh, I've run 50 yards to chase him. I'll just tackle him as well. Plugger used to do that. If he ever made the effort to chase, he figured, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to club the bloke if I catch him.
Oh, Plugger used to be a little bit extra as well.
Rescatelli long to full forward. The fist comes. Sherman almost a crumb. Gibbs had it but dropped it. Shuffles it out. Corrie extracts himself and through traffic kicks a gem.
That's a ripper from Anthony Corrie. We know he's back into the side after a very good display last week in the reserves, kicking 7 goals and having an enormous amount of possessions. Just see here, with a lot of pressure from behind on the tackle, he's able to get the ball up and just balanced enough to throw it on the boot, enough composure just to kick it through. There's an enormous amount of brilliance there. Good reply from the Lions.
This one might go down to the wire. Anthony Corrie, 2 Darwin boys on each other. Joe Anderson with the job for the Blues, late inclusion. Up against Anthony Corrie. From the ball up. Big thump Cruiser. Judd was half held. Walker with a thump out. And Brennan. Not sure what that was, but it'll probably go down as a kick. Judd edged out of it by Dalziel. Sherman back. Stolen back. Murphy. Toward full forward. Fisher flies. Can't mark. Merritt. To the open side they come. Wants to go down the middle. Oh, that's a big kick and hope. Hooper will have to really make some ground. Does. The fist from Arnfield just as good. Carazzo back to Scotland. Chips it wide. Fisher.
Good work from Fisher to find some space.
Houlihan. Fist away though, good. Hawksley.
Got to go to Jonathan Brown, 1 against 2.
And the 2 beat him, Scotland.
That was good work from Waite. Some body pressure, just nudged Jonathan Brown to his left, enabled Scotland to take the mark.
He's been an underrated player in some respects. He's Scotland, 2nd and 3rd in Carlton's BNF in the last couple of years. Has been of vital importance in their downtime to keep their spirit up. Short to Mark Murphy. That's not 15. Cloak paid the mark.
That only just got over the man on the mark.
He got clobbered, Ash McGrath, for his trouble, standing underneath a rampaging Cameron Cloak.
And there'll be a man down because it's a long way to the bench for McGrath if he wants to come off. Waite thumps it long. Cruiser will have to make the ground. Oh, well played, Brennan. He plucked that.
Didn't he?
That's why Jared Brennan's so good in that roving role, especially behind the ball, because he's got the speed and leap and reads the ball well. He can cut off those passes. That wasn't the best pass of the game we've seen today, but his speed got him to the contest, got in front of Cruiser and Corrie for that matter, and took a good mark.
Well, his last term won the game for the Lions last week against the Dogs. Hawksley shoots the handball out and get away with it. Power. Looks up and thumps it long. Copeland with him, Bauer. Copeland copes well, rolls it to full forward. Bauer can run it through. He does, under a little pressure from Robert Copeland. White Turns it over to Black.
He
Of
had
all
the
people.
options on long.
And Black chips into the pocket to Hooper.
Once again, it wasn't a bad decision made by Jared Wade. It was just poor execution. He played onto himself to get that extra distance, and he just didn't time the kick off the boot, turned it over. And as soon as you turn it over after you've kicked out and you've had a zone set up, there's always going to be loose forwards. Ryan Hooper, one of those.
We kicked 3 goals from just a handful of possessions last week. His first term was sensational last week. He kicked the 3 goals in that term to keep the Lions within touch. He knows where they are here. And the Brisbane Lions, at the 17-minute mark of the 3rd term, hit the lead for the first time tonight.
And they've come good with the conversion. 5 goals won to Carlton's 1 goal won in this term, and we just saw the poor skill execution, but there's some nice skill execution from Simon Black on the left foot, just putting it out in front of Ryan Hooper. And the Brisbane Lions are making the most of these forward 50 entries. Half-time, that was an issue, but they're not missing at the moment.
And he gets a rest for his trouble. They've been level 3 times, these two tonight. The Blues have led by a couple of big margins. 22 at quarter time, 18 at half time. And now they trail. Armfield. It's the handball up. Bauer slung, dispossessed. Black through traffic. Johnston hasn't been his night. This could be his moment. Short pass is horrendous.
Everything he touches just turns to mud at the moment, doesn't it? Poor old Travis Johnson. It's just one of those days. He broke clear well, then he showed good toe. He tried to chip it into the path of Jonathan Brown, but they just weren't on the same wavelength. Brown was going backwards. It was Waite that was coming forwards.
Bauer got it from Waite, sends it long. Good kick. Grigg made the most of it. Everyone takes a breath. About to tick into time on 3rd term. The kick to half forward. Charman flies with Hampson. Houlihan almost. Houlihan, yes. Gets the kick inside 50, and Fisher up against the boundary line has the mark.
That's his 4th contested mark inside 50 for Fisher.
Kicked 3 goals in the 2nd term. So he's 3 all at the other end.
This will test him, you suggest.
Giving himself a little bit of angle.
To level the scores up again. It's across the face a little. Chance for the big leapers to go up. Walker was too high. And Fev felt a knee to his head. Now he knows what it feels like. It's normally his knee. Ball in. Charman thumps it toward the boundary, but Judd's lurking. Adcock's with him. Judd to Murphy. Houlihan. Russell. Oh, that's almost holding the ball. In fact, it is. There's the 360 rule in the tackle.
Yep. And Luke Power had a strong hold on that left arm.
Not sure about the prior opportunity, though. He was tackled as soon as he had the ball given to him.
Well, Carlton haven't had too much prior opportunity for this quarter. Every time they get possessions, they're under the pump every time.
So Power, Dalziel, Rowe, and now Pierce Hanley.
Oh, that is a dreadful kick.
And the Irishman's turned it over in his first game.
Got to make them pay, though. They haven't been able to do that.
Fisher long. Rowe might leap here with the fist. He does. And he finds the boundary. And it's on. Behind play, Favola and Rowe. Brendan Favola, if you have just joined us, 1 goal so far tonight. He's on 91. And if the Blues don't win tonight and next week and get the cars to fall for them, he's only got next week to kick the ton. Murphy. Simpson. Judd. Can he hit a target? Inside 50, McDonald knocked it down. Charman, Dalziel, Pierce Hanley. He hands it off this time. Power sends it wide. Tough ball for Adcock. Got a hand to it. Johnston again. Drags down Russell. That's the better option for Johnston. Let someone else get it and then lay the tackle. Johnston again. Russell grabs him. Hands to Black. Threads it through to Adcock, to McDonald. Bradshaw's inside 50. He might go all the way, John McDonald. He can smell them. He's on 50. He loads up and sends it wide. To behind.
Yeah, he gets a spray for his trouble too from Jonathan Brown. I just don't think that was the right option. It was too difficult an angle. Long kick on the run. He had Brown running back to space, Bradshaw running at him. He had to pick one of the options.
Well, he hasn't kicked a goal all year So that was going to be tough for him always, Corrie. Cleverness. And misses.
Let Carlton off the hook there. The defensive pressures of the Brisbane Lions in this third term has been very, very good. They've got no time and space at all, Carlton, when they have the ball.
Been a 5-goal quarter for Brisbane so far. 5 goals to 1. Stevens entrusted with the kick in. 22 minutes gone, third term, to himself.
Interesting option this. There's not much ahead of him.
And he knows it. Carazzo, Stevens, they go to the open side.
Here comes the pressure.
Dangerous. Bauer. Well done. Put his body on the line, but he handballs and hits Hooper. Handballs back again. Copeland. Short. That wasn't 15. Surely. Corrie tried to sell the dummy. Sends it long. Brown. Almost. Got a touch on it. And it's a ball in and not out of play on the full.
You'd swear the Lions had 2 or 3 more players than Carlton on the field.
Dangerous spot for a ball in. Bradshaw doing some ruck work.
Oh,
Bradshaw's ball.
Where'd he pluck that from?
It could be 6 from 6.
Daniel Bradshaw just stood there and contested the ruck against Sean Hampson because Hampson was coming from far away. Let's see where the holding is.
What?
Well, hang on a minute. Who's holding his jumper?
He's gone the wrong way, hasn't he?
That's an extraordinary decision.
He's made him an absolute blue.
We need to see that again.
Bradshaw, 6 goals from 6 kicks.
That's extraordinary, and we don't want to focus too much on umpiring decisions, but we've got to on this one. The boundary throw in here, Bradshaw engages Sean Hampson, and
you'll see from a different angle, Hampson actually reaches back and does have a hold of the jumper with his left hand behind his body, but that is just an unbelievable decision to pay there. Yeah.
Well, Carlton fans back home, if you haven't put your foot through the plasma yet, here's the replay.
He reaches back with the left arm, Sean Hampson, and does grab the jumper of Bradshaw, but Bradshaw didn't know it was his when he turned around. He heard the whistle and said, what's going on? All of a sudden presented with a goal.
He's going very well in game 200. Daniel Bradshaw, that's 6.
6 from 6 kicks. The Blues on the ropes for the first time tonight. They need the Favola show to start. Good time to start kicking the ball to your hero. McGrath. Brennan. Hooper. To the open side to Corrie, who's had a big hand in this comeback. Thumps a wobbler. Jonathan Brown. You bet. Ugly kick, and yet Jonathan Brown read it best.
Ugly kick, Dwayne, spot on, but what it was a quick kick. A quick, long kick into the forward line. And that means there's going to be space. He just gets it on the boot as quick as he can. And the first to read it off the boot is Jonathan Brown, because quite often the defender's watching where the forward's going, trying to cover the lead. And the forward's normally the first to react to where the football's going.
Massive kick for his third. The onslaught continues.
Seven-goal 3 to 1-1. Contested ball. Possessions are starting to go well and truly the Brisbane Lions' way, and Brown and Bradshaw are just absolutely putting on a clinic at the moment. 4 goals to Daniel Bradshaw for the term. Ron Hooper's popped up for 1. Jonathan Brown now 1. Just see the joy here in the front. Simon Black just jumps for joy to see his big forward. He's just in the front there and very happy with that goal and mark.
Jared Waite with the big job. He's been doing a good job so far. Jonathan Brown with goal number 3. And the Lions out to their biggest margin that they've held tonight. 20 points. And Simon Black has been outstanding, as has Ash McGrath. Threads his way through traffic. Bradshaw's on the move. Got it.
How's the disposal of Ashley McGrath? That's the second bullet that he's kicked. Here's Bradshaw kicking to a one-on-one.
Jonathan Brown from behind.
Now, there's the perfect example, Dwayno, of Daniel Bradshaw saying, what do I want if I'm in Jonathan Brown's situation? I want a one-on-one contest. So I'll just kick it there. I don't care that he's not in space. I'll kick it to him because I'll back my bloke to beat their bloke. That's all he did.
He just floated it above the Carlton defender's head.
So there you go, Brown. It's up to you now. And he didn't let him down.
Bradshaw has 5. Jonathan Brown has 3. Lions have the lead by 20. Brown now has 4, and the Lions lead by 26.
This has been an absolute onslaught. I think at three-quarter time when Carlton were leading by 3 goals, that it was going to be a very big test for Brisbane Lions to get back in it. But once again, Ash McGrath, that beautiful delivery back into the forward 50. And the hands of Daniel Bradshaw was great. And the kick was very nice. And Jonathan Brown was just able to get the big right knee into the back of his opponent and took a good mark.
Well, Dwayne, I think we said... you told me after I said Carlton had their best first quarter last week, 6-2. They went past that and kicked 7-2 in the first quarter here. You said they've also won 7 of the last 10 quarters. We've worked out what the problem is. It's their second and third quarters. They are getting smashed here in the third quarter.
Yes, they've won 7 of their past 10 last quarters, the Blues, so this one not over yet. Brennan rolls it inside 50 to the danger man again. Hands it off this time. Rescatelli! It's party time!
Well, floodgates are certainly opened up.
9 goals to 1 now, Lynchy.
9-3 to 1-1. 12 scoring shots to 2. Inside 50s are only actually 14-12.
That's the worry.
Oh, it's amazing.
14 inside 50s and they've scored 12 times. Just get it in there.
It's not great, is it, as far as a defensive unit goes?
From 18 points down to start this quarter to 32 points up the Lions. Rowan Smith.
Well, Dwayne, with Brown and Bradshaw on fire, what makes it a little bit worse for the Carlton Footy Club at the moment is Paul Bauer's gone down with a heavily corked thigh, so he's really struggling at the moment. He's just warming up in between now. They've strapped him up, but doesn't look that flash at the moment.
Charman in the ruck. He can smell blood as well. Anderson hands it out. Pierce Hanley dives in, stolen from him by Walker. Gibbs. Stevens might fly. He waits for Houlihan. Knocked down to him. Houlihan. Power. Good battle. Brennan has been instrumental in the comeback too. Houlihan again. Back to Stevens. Caught by Sherman. Dragged down. Umpire will sort it out with the ball up. 108 to 76 and three-quarter time. Can't come quickly enough for the Blues. Cruiser to Dalziel, not 15. Moody ducked into that tackle. No prior opportunity. Merritt slides it out. Brennan somehow with the outside of the foot wobbles it towards Hooper. Fist comes down to Rescatelli off his shin. Murphy caught. Anderson caught. Caught a little high. No free. Ball up on the wing.
Just a couple of wins there for Carlton just to try to stem the flow. Look at Jared Brennan just put on his little video clinic here.
How's his right boot, Lynchy?
It's for standing on. That's it.
For balance only.
Here he is again. Trying to shuffle a handball out. Stevens wrapped up. 50 seconds. And the clock stops. 108 to 76. The Lions playing for their 2008 lives. Big term. Ball knocked down to Dalziel. Gets the kick away, a bouncing ball. A tackle laid by Bryce Gibbs on Moody.
Once again, another win for Carlton just to slow things up. Dalziel's up to 26 possessions. He's heading in the direction of another 32, 33 disposals for another game.
He's averaging 26 per game for his 5 games. And as I said earlier, no player in the history of the game has had as many possessions in their first 5 games of footy as Brad Dalziel. Scotland slips it inside 50, but it's too wide. And Pierce Hanley in game number 1 finds the nicest way to get a possession, an uncontested to the pocket. Adcock.
Oh, well done.
Anderson, smother. Danger. Seconds tick. 2 left on the clock. Copeland got the kick away, but it's wide. Lee Matthews heads down. Craig Lambert, Paul Hudson,
Listen to the
Adrian
support
Fletcher,
from the crowd.
Justin Lepich. They've masterminded a brilliant comeback, and the crowd loved every minute of it. The Lions lead by 32, 16-12, 108 to 12-4, 7.
Well, they're throwing Jared Waite forward, Carlton. Thornton's gone on to Brown, and it looks like Bradshaw has Bauer for an opponent.
Carlton have 30 minutes to resurrect their year. Black dives in, and no one allowed to get it out. Ball up on attacking 50.
So the Blues have loaded up their attacking 50 with 4 marking targets: Waite, Fisher, Favola and Cloak. And they're going to obviously just try and move the ball long, quick and high into their attacking 50 zone.
Jarman in the ruck. Down to Judd. No takeaway, another ball up.
Of course, to do that, they have to win some footy. And they got smashed in the third term. It was one-way traffic.
And find some space. Just Sherman's really locked onto Judd, trying to keep him quiet.
Corrie dragged down. Another ball up. As we mentioned earlier, the Blues have won 7 of their past 10 last quarters, but they need to win this one by at least 33 points.
Oh, plenty. Dalziel had 12 disposals in the third term, and Black 9 led the way for the Lions. Stevens and Murphy led the way for the Blues.
Scotland, Cruiser, Simpson with a Shepherd. Well played, Judd. Keeps Sherman out of it.
Oh, Fev's got a free kick.
So Fev's free at full forward.
A gimme.
This could turn things around. He was held and stopped from being allowed to lead.
It's 80 metres off the ball.
He's not arguing Joel Patfull, so he obviously got caught red-handed.
Umpire Simon Meredith. Or maybe he's just read from the law book, which says there's no need to argue. You don't get a turnaround from arguing.
Well, he doesn't say a lot normally, Joel Patfull.
I've never seen anyone reverse an umpire's decision yet by arguing.
Doesn't stop you from trying, though, Jason.
For his second of the night, Brendan Favola, as he so often does, keeps Carlton in it.
Well, that's a lucky break for Brendan Favola and a lucky break for Carlton. There was a little bit of congestion stoppage on their half-back flank, and to clear that congestion was certainly a win, but to be able to maximise opportunity with a free kick deep in their forward line to their gun full forward, maybe just the start they needed. Now they're down by 26 points, plenty of time remaining, but they want to get some centre clearances going straight away.
.92 for the season now for the Fev. Lance Franklin just 2 ahead of him on 94. And the ball up. Jarman down. Stolen. And the kick away, Greg. Half smothered. Walker. Bouncing ball. Stevens swoops on it. Sees Favola. Tries to pinpoint him. Can't. Favola with the crumb to Fisher. High kick. Cruiser had the reach, but Sherman read it well. And thumped it out of play. No score. Ball in. Sherman, the big job in this final term. Still on Chris Judd. And the ball in. Merritt. Back to the boundary line. Ball in again. Simon Black, outstanding night at the office. 20 possessions for him so far.
I'll get a little bit nervous, Brisbane, if they concede the first couple.
The free kick.
Free kick to the Blues. It'll go to Cloak, holding him out of the contest.
Well, I think Cameron Cloak was looking to be third man up, come over the top and clear the pack. There's the second ruckman up. And in fact, it was just Merritt coming in as the third man, stopping Cloak from competing with Charman. So that's a little bit silly.
Cameron Cloak made sure that the umpire saw it as well, but it can't hold.
Certainly it was there. Yeah, to make it 2 goals from frees to start this final term. And this is for his third. 2 goals in the opening term.
Nice kick.
They have a pulse. Cloak has 3.
I think there's a little bit of just a lack of thought process there from Daniel Merritt. He's playing on Cameron Cloak, but you've got to understand that when you're playing on a resting ruckman that's playing forward, that resting ruckman, whilst he's a forward, he will become the ruckman when there's a stoppage in the forward line. So what Daniel Merritt needs to do is allow him to go into the ruck against Charman, and then he has to put himself in the best defensive position he can to help out his teammates, not be an extra ruckman.
108-88.
Certainly made it interesting. A couple of quickies. Just gets Carlton's confidence up. A little bit of doubt in the back of the minds of the Lions.
34,000 here at the Gabba. A little nervous.
They've won 7 of 10 last quarters, Dwayne. We keep saying it.
Here they go.
Murphy got it from Gibbs. Favola. Oh, he got the fly. Wait. Swoops.
Kick that.
And goals. 3 within 90 seconds.
Well, the first couple were probably a couple of free kicks that could have gone either way. They made the most of them and kicked the goals. That one was a good long kick into their full forward. Brendan Favola, good contest, wasn't able to take the mark. But this is a super goal, under pressure, swinging around on the right boot. And a super goal from a man. Is that his colours lowered for most part against Jonathan Brown at the other end. He's been pushed forward to kick goals, and he started off well.
Well, he's had 4 kicked at him. He's been sent forward. He now has one of his own. And Lee Matthews.
Brennan's gone loose man defence.
Pensive look on the face of Lee Matthews at the moment. Judd. Scotland to Walker. They've got the run. Fisher beaten for it by McDonald. Can't keep it alive. We'll get a ball in.
Best option for the Lions is the loose man defence, and that's Jared Brennan because of his speed, mobility.
Bentic ridden a little in the back. No free. Ball up. The Blues have led by as much as 24 points in this match. A 32-point lead it was at three-quarter time to the Lions.
Holding to
Greig's free, another Blue free.
And Walker's been pushed forward. He was the loose man, so he's Brennan's direct opponent. He's been pushed forward to try to find some space in the forward 50.
Greig, a helicopter. And Patfull read that magnificently. He left his man Favola, took the mark, hand to Power. Central kick, dangerous. McDonald got there, play on, got the handball out. Back to Patfull, he gets the handball out. Still danger here. Power through traffic. Bouncing ball, and Dalziel clever sees it out of play.
Well, there's some interesting stats floating around. They've won the hit-outs in this quarter 7-1, Brisbane, but the clearances are 6-1 the other way. It's hit-outs to advantage that count, isn't it?
Cloak, speaking of hit-outs to advantage, that was to Black's advantage, and
well
that's
done.
a little too high, but they contributed to that. He dived in head first, and Adcock wins the free for his trouble. Hands off to Power. Jonathan Brown has 2 to beat, so he goes to Bradshaw. Strength. Didn't hold the mark, though. Not paid it, at least.
Good decision. I don't think he held it.
There's a piece of the ground as well there. But once again, Bradshaw dangerous in that one-on-one situation with the long ball coming in.
Yeah, just went underneath the body. He was a bit too strong for Bauer. He'd like that situation again, that one-on-one contest.
Stevens clever to Thornton, to Carazzo, to Bentic. They run it from defence. Cut off by Brennan. He was the star last week.
That was going for Walker, and it was just a poor kick, just to advantage of Jared Brennan.
Dragged them home almost single-handedly against the Dogs last week, Jared Brennan. Sends it wide, and Pierce Hanley again. The Irishman, his first game, has looked composed.
Charman's pushed forward, calling it long.
And he thumps it in that direction. Charman can't get a piece of it. Cruiser did, knocked it down. Riscatelli dropped that.
Put it down.
Dropped it.
And no free. And there's the Edna upper.
That was very much just a payback for the oversight of dropping the ball from Riscatelli.
Cade Simpson slips it wide to Walker.
It just dropped off in the intensity of the defensive pressure they applied in that third quarter, Brisbane. Maybe the effort told on them. They spent so much of their reserves in that third term, but
Brennan, almost. They get the crumb. Cloak.
a little bit more space and freedom for the Carlton ball users.
Greig. Patfull in front of Favola. Oh, he plays on. Takes the game on. To Power. Corey. About to get run down. just gets the kick away in time. Jonathan Brown with him, Thornton. Good fist, knocks it down. Charman fell. He's over it. He's gathered. He raked it in.
Oh, he wants him
He's
too.
dead.
He's pinged him.
14 points to margin. 10 minutes in, final term.
That was a good spoil. It was probably too good a spoil because actually cleared the area, went past the crumbing defender for Carlton and straight to a Lions player.
Simpson to Scotland to Walker. Takes off, gets around a couple. Bentic needs to hit a target. Favola used a body. Got a hand on it but couldn't mark it. Gibbs threw his head into traffic. White to Stevens, kickable from there. High bomb, goal square, and there he is again. Jared Brennan, the everywhere man. It's almost as if he saves himself for last quarters.
Gee, that needed to be a long kick if he's looking for Johnston, and it didn't get there.
Travis Johnston didn't even make the effort to get there.
No, there's not a lot of desperation.
So they wax handballs, Greg and Murphy. Kick to the pocket to Fisher. Merritt. Good fist. Thumps it out. This game
wasn't a great kick.
Well and truly alive.
Was not a great kick to Fisher. He just was stuck under the long high ball and gave plenty of time for Daniel Merritt to get there and affect the spoil.
Charman front spot. Edged under it by Cloak. Stolen by Greg. Hands to Murphy. Left foot okay. More than okay. It's got the carry.
Well,
This has just turned into an extraordinary game, Lynchy.
did we think at three-quarter time it was possibly all over?
Yep.
I think, and maybe just the Brisbane Lions players did. I think the fans might have thought they were home and hosed. That's good hands to extricate the pack there, and even better use of the left boot to kick that goal under pressure. That is great work from Murphy. Very good goal. It's been a great start the last quarter.
They must win their last two games, the Blues, and hope the Saints lose their last two. But they need to tick this box tonight first. Saints play tomorrow. Ball up. Charman with the palm down. Judd rolls it around the body towards Gibbs. Attacks it beautifully. Gathers, goes, kicks. Stevens.
Walker's pushed forward to man up Brennan. Now McDonald's gone as the extra loose man, so they're continually rotating extra men into their defensive half.
Cloak flies but can't bring it down. Riscatelli. Quick hands. Dalziel. A wobbler to the midfield. Brown attacks it all the way up, but he fell.
Needed to keep his feet.
Murphy, Greg, the 1-2 back to Murphy. He can go all the way. He centres it. Cloak. He can give the Brisbane Lions the scare of their life here and reduce the margin to 2 points.
And the danger of having the extra man in defence is you leave the opposition with an extra man through the midfield and across half-back. On this occasion, it is through the midfield, and Carlton have just suddenly found where it deserted them in the third quarter, but found some time and space, and they're hitting their forwards.
Supervision from Mark Murphy going forward.
You can hear a pin drop here at the Gabba. Cloak. For the roar of the Blues fans has 4. It's a 2-point ball game.
Now,
At some stage, Lynchy, Brisbane have got to kick a couple of goals to win this. They can't save the game.
No, they can't save it now. The disposals in this fourth term is 15-50 in favour of the Blues, and you wonder why the Lions are going backwards in a hurry. They haven't touched the nut. They just can't draw one. It is amazing how the Blues have just come back and lace out, just hitting up the targets as the Brisbane Lions did in that third term.
Brisbane Lions have lost 3 of their past 4 games. They're not the super confident Brisbane Lions that we've seen in previous seasons.
Well, no doubt that massive third quarter effort has taken its toll on a lot of the Brisbane Lions players.
Charman. Someone needs to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Jonathan Brown running hard to get to this one. Corrie, Armfield get there first. Boundary line looming. Simpson keeps it in to the wing. Brennan again. He knows Jonathan Brown's the man. Sends it in his direction. Brown, good fist from Thornton. Simpson, shrug Corrie to Carazzo. Armfield, Judd, Houlihan, Gibbs, maintaining possession. Murphy, Scott Stevens. In his direction.
That was a good kick. He took his time and assessed it and kicked it long to Stevens.
And back again from Grigg to Favola. Almost. Gathers a crumb. Kick smothered. Back again. High bomb. Goal square. It won't get the distance. No mark. Pierce Hanley a throw.
Oh, he's thrown
He
it.
threw it away, the Irishman. Free kick the Blues. They can take the lead.
This is absolutely, this game's turned on its head. The Irishman, he's working hard, but just a good tackle. It's a tackle from weight, it was.
Well, he's trying to explain to the umpire that he actually did punch it, but the problem was he dropped it before he punched it.
Give him a break. He only came to Australia 10 months ago.
There's no point arguing that. Umpire can't understand him.
From 32 points down, the Blues hit the lead.
6 goals to zip in the 4th quarter. We have seen 2 extraordinary quarters of football here. He did well to get the arms free the first time, Hanley, but unfortunately the second time he got caught in a great tackle. He went up nice and high because you could see the arms up high, Jared Waite, when the tackle was applied. And then it wasn't a great kick off the boot, but just shaved the left-hand post. A massive turnaround once again in this match.
And the Blues are winning the contested ball. We saw the Lions won the contested ball in the 3rd term, but 23-6 in favour of the Blues contested possessions.
And 63-17 total possessions. There's nearly 4-1.
Jarman takes it out of the air. Bouncing ball. Power and Carazzo. Got the handball off. Johnston lays a tackle, but Anderson got his arms free. Russell, Carazzo. Hampson, a little fumble. Oh, they dive in. Adcock met high, is hurt. Good pick up from Russell, but he ran into trouble. 360 the turn. Stevens through traffic. Favola, can he get there? On the bounce. Gathers, he falls. Copeland dives in. Gibbs with him. Ball up.
Now, Adcock looks like he's in a fair amount of strife on centre wing. Physio, doctor and trainers.
Might need to stop play here.
Well, I think they will. They'd need to. It's just got a big hit from Hampson.
They're 1 short. If they're going to take this long, they need to make a quick decision, the Brisbane Medicos, and stop the game. They can't afford to be 1 short and concede another goal.
You can't, and they're hesitant because as soon as you bring the stretcher onto the field, he's out of the game.
Hawksley kicks long. Oh, 2 Blues collide. Thornton beaten for it by Brown. Gets the handball up. Corrie to Johnston. Adcock still in the hands of trainers. There's still a man down. Power. Kick smothered. Now the Blues with the spare man can go. Cloak on his own at half forward. Gathers. Gets around Copeland. Spears the pass inside 50. Oh, 2 Lions collide. Fisher gave it up. Gibbs slaps it on. The Fav. He got a kick away, but it's wide.
Pulled it around too much. Adcock's going from the ground. Fair amount of blood, I think, from look like his nose.
And they keep playing. Moody. Umpire should stop play through the blood rule, surely.
Well, one of the players or the trainers should have gone to the umpire and said blood rule to stop play.
Well, Dalziel's got himself in trouble.
And the bouncing ball is ugly from Dalziel. Scotland,
Stevens
Judd,
again.
Stevens. Short. And this has been the move. Wait forward.
There's space for Fev now.
And he gets there, but it's on the bounce. They collide. Fev and Fisher. Adcock. McGrath on the bench with him. 21 minutes gone, final term. Charman knocked it down, but to all people, Judd. Good tackle from Black. He got a kick away. Dalziel can rush it behind. But at the moment, it's 6 points the margin. Not rushing one the better option. Corrie, he can take off. Gets away from Simpson. Looks up, and he sees nothing but space. So he goes. about to get run down, chips the kick. Sherman, strong hands.
Cruiser sitting a kick behind play. He needs to look for a different option.
Goes back to Corrie, who can go all the way here. Oh, he dropped the mark and he's a spent man.
He's tired.
Simpson, his man, chased him down. Sends it wide. Murphy beats Hawksley.
He's done a couple of quality things, Murphy, in this last term. I mean, he's been doing them all season, but that was a very important mark.
A goal the difference. A draw isn't any good to either side in the push for the top 8. Carazzo.
Possession's 91-33. Just in the last term, heavily favouring Carlton. Inside 50s, 15-8.
Gibbs with the fly, can't mark it. Ball hits the deck.
They haven't even scored a point in this quarter, Brisbane. They have not scored at all.
Yet they have gone in 8 times into their forward 50.
Judd towards Gibbs. Boundary line there. Dalziel, who has not stopped. Riscatelli. A kick and hope. Quarter play on as Power attacked it. Armfield takes it out and will get a ball in.
Talk about some of the prime movers getting involved in the game. Nick Stevens 11 and Chris Judd 10 for this term.
Here's Jed
Grigg
Adcock.
9.
Ended up with a blood nose, getting attended to, getting the face cleaned up.
Have not scored in 23 minutes of football after a 9-goal third term, the Lions. Brennan tried to get a kick away. Riscatelli, strong tackle. Ball held up. Rowan Smith.
Well, Dwayne, you just seen Jed Adcock get his nose, maybe a couple of tampons maybe put up there just to stop the bleeding, but they want him out here desperately. He's standing up now, just about to come back on.
From the ball up, Brennan doing the ruck work. Sherman rolls it towards Brown, and he can't get the handball up to Travis Johnston. Ball in. 114 to 108. Their seasons come down to the next 4 minutes and 41 seconds.
Well, they need to get a move on quickly. Someone's going to take a mark for Brisbane. They haven't looked like it with the last couple of one-on-ones.
Judd to Carazzo. Adcock. Oh, he's back.
Surely that's
he's met high again.
Yep. Thornton and Bauer have done a super job on Bradshaw and Brown in this 4th term. They've been terrific in a number of one-on-one contests.
And Cruiser's just getting back in that space again, just forcing the Lions forwards wide.
To Brown. Can't mark. Johnston from the pocket. He's had a horrible night, and it continues. A behind, but a goal would put the Lions in front. It's a 5-point game. 4 minutes left on the clock.
It's good work, Jed Adcock. They're still going low and hard. Copped another whack, but that was good courage.
Well, they're finally on the board, Brisbane. If nothing else, in the 4th term. Have they got one last effort to get themselves over the line?
Now, Judd's got 12. Someone's got to go near him in a hurry.
Joe Anderson, late inclusion for the Blues tonight. It's impossible to hold the ball for 4 minutes. So he kicks to a 1-on-2. Rowe is the one and beaten for a by weight.
Oh, he's paid
the mark. And he takes on and loses.
Oh, he's pinged him for it too.
A double whammy from the umpire there.
Double muck up. Waite was playing on because he knew he didn't mark
take
it.
the mark.
Do 2 wrongs make a right?
No.
Black.
Here comes Bradshaw on the lead, but they've got plenty of numbers back, the Blues. They need to think their way through it. Brennan in space.
Brennan flies from a 1-step start. Johnston shrugs but kicks. Power needs to hit a target. Wobbles it inside 50. Brown! Big fist Thornton. Down to Dalziel. Wobbles it towards full forward. Simpson. McDonald. Boundary line. And with 3 minutes 10 left on the clock and 5 points to margin, we'll get a ball in. There's a big fist.
He's been very good in this last term.
Short throw in. Brown takes it out of the air. Riscatelli. Simon Black. Forced back. Sends it inside 50. Thornton. You mentioned how good he's been.
He has been super now.
Can they hold it for 3 minutes?
They've got to start thinking about manning up, Brisbane.
Well, they still need a goal to win, I think, Carlton.
Oh. Walker.
3 minutes is plenty of time. Turnover when you're trying to chip it around.
Johnston and Brennan fly. Russell with them. Boundary line. And it was out. Murphy tried to take off. Clock stops. 2:31 from time. Everyone on the edge of their seat. Round 21. And finals come down to this. Stevens got it from Carazzo. Murphy wide to Cruiser. Thumps it long. Fist from Merritt. Gather from Hawksley. Keeps it in to Patfull. They don't know how long left. They're trying to keep it alive. He's been done for ball. A goal here could seal it.
That was red hot. Jamie Charman not too happy sitting on the pine.
He wants to come on.
Well, it'll take Cade Simpson's best kick from there too. I don't know if he's got the journey.
Well, he could use up 20 seconds at least. He can make out he's having a shot. Let the seconds roll. Umpire must give him 30 and then call time on.
Well, the clock's ticking.
He can run it down to 1:35. He's had 20. And that's what he has ahead of him. A behind would still be handy. Sets it up to the goal square. Brannan!
That is a big mark.
With the reach. And he keeps their season alive.
That's a great mark in that situation.
Lukey Powell's played on and there's no one to kick to.
But he doesn't know how long left. Gets around Fisher. Hands off to Riscatelli. Turnover. Judd. Riscatelli. Judd beats them. Caught. Got it up to Carazzo. Caught. Got it up to Fisher. Almost throws it to Judd. The seconds continue to roll. Out of play. The clock will stop.
Well, Lukey Powell played on not knowing what was ahead of him, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
But he'd look at the clock.
Nothing.
He'd look at the clock and see 28 minutes gone and think, well,
true.
This is the last roll of the dice.
I guess it's a sign that there's just no run coming from Brisbane.
No run from behind. Judd 13 disposals this quarter.
Oh, they've stopped to a walk. Brisbane.
Stevens caught. Gibbs.
Even around the contest.
Maintains possession. Joe Anderson. He can kick it behind or a goal for Vola.
That'll do it.
Oh, the game was crying out for a hero.
Well, he's only kicked the one for the night.
And Brendan Favola knows how to do it.
Two, sorry.
The man for the moment.
Banana.
Well, it doesn't really matter. 30 seconds off the clock here for the Fev.
Brisbane fans have got the message. They think it's over. They're on their way out.
For his 93rd of the season, Brendan Favola kicks it behind.
Well, they'll go long down the middle. They'll just stack the numbers up, Brisbane. Everyone in the centre corridor. Long kick coming.
Carlton can't lose.
Rose
and a draw
in.
is no good for Brisbane. A draw, by the way, no good for the Blues either. Merritt.
Big mark.
Big grab.
Riscatelli. Patfull. Hawksley to Riscatelli. Sherman.
Oh, it was a grab of the arm.
He got held, Sherman.
And he gets the free.
He's got to move it quickly.
He can see the scoreboard. It says 30 minutes gone. Pokes it to the pocket. Brown. Cut off.
Great courage.
Joe Anderson. Got back. Took the mark. And Anderson will win the game for the Blues with that effort.
That's fantastic courage.
They came from 32 points down at three-quarter time, the Blues, to keep that glimmer of hope alive. The slimmest of slim chances to make the finals in 2008 for Carlton. After an amazing turnaround of events here, the Brisbane Lions season is now dead, you would think. They've got one last gasp against Sydney at the SCG next week, and the Blues' final game will be against the Hawks at the Dome. 6 points the final margin. The Blues 18-7, 115 to the Lions 16-13.